Growing up, I wanted to travel so many places. I used to write in my journal that one day, if possible, that I will travel here, I will travel there. But at the time, with my situations with my health, certain health issues that I was dealing with as a child, I never thought that it was possible. But I'm so overjoyed in the last almost 2.5 years. I have had the opportunity to travel to so many different places, and this is sort of my first proper vlog where I want to share this moment or that time of travel to Athens, Greece, which I've always wanted to. So this is a short, well, not short, but relatively short compared to all the videos I've got, which I will be posting soon. I wanted to share this here. So this journey to Athens was part of a few journeys combined together, starting from Turkey and then going to Thessaloniki and then from there to Athens. So here to Athens, the proper Athens, and checking out Acropolis and the Pantheon and all the great, historical and monumental parts of Athens, started from the station Ammonia, which was very close to where I was staying at a relatively close hotel to the Acropolis. So I got on the metro and got off at the Acropolis station as shown earlier, and was strolling through all the streets. Had one of the most amazing smoothie that I had, which I also took a picture of the recipe that they had out on for it, which was great. And I did try to make that, and I will continue to make that again. All throughout Europe, what has always gripped me was the architecture. It really makes me completely awestruck, and I look at all the monuments and historical elements that we still have on this earth in different parts of the world, especially in most of the European countries, and how it has been preserved and for the purpose of tourism. And it really takes me back to history. Someone who loves history, someone who loves reading so much of the past, I enjoy going to places where I could read more upon the architecture, the elements, the philosophical aspects of each and every places that I visit. And Athens was no less than that. Athens was fully immersed in the historical cultures and philosophical aspects and beliefs that they've had since a very long time. So if you're wondering where these are, it's an unbelievably beautiful, remarkable and uncanny architectural part of the Acropolis. So before I went to the Acropolis, I had quite a significant time before I could go, because I went on a Wednesday. Thankfully I had free entry to the Acropolis. So I had to wait till 5 p.m. In the evening to actually enter the Acropolis. So in the meantime, I checked out the neighborhood and I saw that it was incredibly beautiful. Such lovely corners of Athens, where I got a little backpack which I needed, as I ended up ripping my backpack that I had. So this particular part of the neighborhood is called the Plaka, Plaka, which is a very beautiful part of Athens. So you should definitely check out if you're going to Athens and you have time. Either you can go to the Acropolis and come back and rest around this neighborhood. You can go to some of the great restaurants there, and you could, get lemonade and drinks, whatever drinks. As you can see, there's a lot of restaurants where you can sit outside and enjoy the weather. And so, because I had a lot of time and I wanted to use the time wisely and not waste it, I ended up just exploring these streets. And of course, as you go to the Acropolis, it is a lot of walking. You can be tired, especially if it's on a really hot day. So for me personally, I wanted to check out these streets and these neighborhoods before I could go to Acropolis, because I know I'll be really tired afterwards to really thoroughly explore these parts. And you can go and check out some of the independent shops here, and I really wanted to get one of these backpacks, since I've been on a backpack hunt ever since I broke mine, which is a shame, which I got from Italy last year. And that backpack had come with me throughout different many journeys, and so I really wanted to find something similar. So you can, there's so many different places and shops that you can go to, handmade things that is very homely to Greeks. So it was a relatively busy day as well, but just incredible weather and beautiful. I could not have asked for more, and thankfully that particular day my hay fever was also fine, which helped me to actually enjoy the day. And the heat just gave me more excuses to get more lemonades and more drinks every corner that I went. And it was just perfect, and it was exactly what I needed throughout the time. One thing I love to do everywhere I travel is spotting the flag of the nation. It just gives that very incredible sort of sense of that country and their citizens and their culture and history. And when you're there, one thing for me is when I'm traveling and I'm in a particular part of a country or a part of the world, I love to completely immerse myself in that culture. I want to take on who they are as people and take that away to where I go. And that is probably in the music. in their food, that is in the way they talk, the people talk to one another. You know, having traveled into so many countries, there are things that I love about a place and not so love about a place, but that's what makes life so beautiful and people so different in each regions, and you become one with each person and each part of this world. You may not have to agree with everything, you may not have to like everything, but there are so many different elements to what makes us who we are and makes us different, and that difference is not always bad. This is the incredible Arch of Hadrian. Just beautiful. I couldn't get enough of just the fact that these are elements of history just standing. And for me personally, I'm truly immersed in moments like this. I want to check out every part of a place where things are remaining preserved from its history, especially when I go to Italy or Greece, because there's so much history in the architecture and philosophy that which have formed a part of this world. And this is me walking towards the Olympics Stadium, the first ever Olympic Stadium. And before I traveled, one of my friends said, make sure you go there, which I really wanted to check out. And it is incredible just thinking and knowing how incredibly great their vision was, even towards sports. And one interesting fact is that it is the only stadium in the world made completely of marble. I really wanted to walk across the whole place, and I have seen certain people were actually doing that, but unfortunately I was way too tired to do that. But I just, walked a bit above and beyond in what I was going to, and I watched a few people running there, and it was quite incredible just to see. And they also give you the informations and the history behind this place, in which you can hear it with a headphone on, and that was quite incredible, and overwhelmed by the number of flags that were flying as well around it. Was just great. So after sitting there for a while and just exploring the history of the Olympic Stadium, I went closer to the Acropolis and stayed there waiting for my time to enter the Acropolis, and in the meantime just listening to different artists either singing or playing instruments, and it was just beautiful.
Oui, attends.
Est-ce que je te dis j'aurais bien que tu sortes ton téléphone, mais bon, allez. Ouais, on va y aller. Allez. Évidemment.
So from there I ended up managed to get my ticket for 5 p.m, which was a great time since I managed to avoid the heat of the afternoon, since it was a really hot day. So the timing worked really well for me, and also I wanted to see the Acropolis on the Pantheon during night, so I didn't want to wait for longer to actually see the view at night. So it all worked really perfectly for me, and I walked up and I saw the various theaters at the time. As you can see, the architecture, it's just brilliant how in that time, with the limited resources and limited technology, actually they had plenty of resources, but technology, they still made such solid structures that we still are in awe of, that we still go to these parts of the world to actually just be in absolute amazement. So it was for me personally, who loves historical elements of the world. I really enjoyed have this walk up there, and a lot of biblical references as well, Acropolis and Pantheon. It also made me, it reminded me of a verse from the Bible that I read once, about a city being on top of a hill, and it really felt that way, because as I was reading up on Acropolis, I wanted to know, I'm quite a geek when it comes to things like this. I want to go and dig up the meaning of things behind words, and go deep into the deep meanings of things, really. So that's why Greek philosophy and such parts of culture really touches my heart a lot more than any other. So the word Acropolis is from the Greek word akron, which actually means the highest point, and polis means city. So it is interesting because the Acropolis is really on top, the Pantheon, right? It's on the top, and you can see the structure, this building from pretty much from a lot of sites beneath this highest point where it is. So I could imagine how back then the kings, they could actually look down at what is happening in the market, which I really will talk about in the next video that I post. And I found that really interesting, how even maybe going quite a bit deep into status, or where maybe if there were, I don't know, if there were sort of that element to actually show that we are the kings and we are the rulers, and to also show that difference between race, or difference between status. So I guess probably there was that element to it as well, why it had to be on the top or at the highest point. and also so that they can also overview the city and can see what's going on, because in the next video when I post, you can see that they could actually see things happening in the marketplace and in other, the old marketplace and other regions of the city from higher up there. So it's really such a great walk. I could see those elements, those architectures and those carvings and of inscriptions, of Roman inscriptions as well. So overall it was a totally brilliant experience, and it was quite a bit of walk. That's why I said earlier that for me personally what worked was actually going and checking out the neighborhood like Plaka and really taking my time to relax there and have a drink or two and really getting into the feel of Athens, and then going up to the Acropolis. And by then it's not that hard if you can get, and I was so lucky because I didn't know that it was going to be a free ticket day. So I went there obviously thinking of paying it, and getting the ticket, and usually I guess it is like about 35-40 euros if I'm right. But on that day they were giving out for free, but I just had to wait till 5 for that, which worked perfectly for me since I wanted to see the view at night when it's all lighted up, which I'll be posting in my next video as a part 2. So do check out that video when I post. It will be great because I'm really excited to show how that experience really was. And obviously this is truly will be a different kind of experience for someone who is really into history, who's completely awestruck like me by the architecture and the level of planning or the level of intelligence that went on behind these constructions, right? And their systems that they've placed in. So for me, it was such a brilliant experience, but it doesn't mean that everyone's going to thoroughly enjoy this. You do need patience. You do need, make sure you have like really good footwear. I'm glad that I wore my trainers and I was comfortable with my, with my walks really. So it's very important that, and also sometimes the marbles actually are quite slippery as well, especially when we go right up to the Acropolis. You can actually slip on those marbles because of the years and years of erosion and it being that really. So we have to be careful as we're walking over there. But it is such a view, honestly, from that, even to look over at the entire Athens. It is quite a view, and you could only just imagine. For me, when I go to historical places like Athens, even when I went to Turkey, I went to Ephesus, I went to a few other regions, which for me also is very personal since I'm a Christian, and there's a lot of Christian elements, history to these parts of countries as well. So it is really, what is so interesting is seeing these places and imagining yourself in that time, and imagine you were part of that time and how things would have been for you, or how life would have been, or how if you were, for me, when I was standing in the marketplace, near the marketplace in Athens, and I was looking up at that Acropolis, I imagined myself, if I was part of that community then, what were the thoughts that were probably going through in my mind, and how would the dynamic be really? So it's all very quite interesting. If you would really more likely to enjoy if you immerse yourself in the history and try to think things through, and by putting yourself in their shoes, that's when this experience will be larger than life. And that's when you can really appreciate what you're seeing. And there's, you would find advantages and also disadvantages of being in that time, right? So personally, that's what really for me was interesting. So now, from exploring all it's like layers and layers of things to see. Each stage you have different things to see, different structures, different, like the theater, or the things to do with their gods or goddesses and temples, inscriptions, Roman inscriptions. So now I'm walking really up to the Acropolis, or to the Pantheon, where then you can see the view that I'm actually seeing here right now. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It's quite breathtaking, really. As I was standing there beneath it all, just waiting for my, for me to have that right space to just go right up, I could just kept imagining what it must have been like for the ordinary people to actually just climb up those space when all that place during their time to approach the king or whatever. Anyway, so I will be soon posting the second part to this journey.